Make some noise for your host, Kid Copious.
What up, perps? Kid Copious back in the bunker. Purple State Party, you know what we do. We're repping America, the center, common sense. And these little guys, yeah. Hey, look at that. Good shot. Tonight's episode is going to be titled, I just literally thought of it. I can't believe it took me all this time to think of it. The branding before Christmas. We know what that's about, right? Come on now. We all heard the news. Somebody punked Sleepy Joe with Let's Go Brandon. He agreed, let's go Brandon. We're also going to go with Manchin versus Brandon, or Manchin on the Hill, something like that. But I wanted to stick with Brandon and movie themes. So we'll get to it. I find it funny that this is now being, the media wants to point it out as vulgar, and they're so upset about it, but, they were silent when people followed Kristen Sinema into a bathroom or hucked eggs at Larry Elder while using the N-word. Nancy Pelosi got trolled by Let's Go Brandon. President Biden got trolled by Brandon. I can't believe he was... Yeah, well, I agree. Let's go Brandon. It's so frustrating because what I kind of see here is that the Democrats have placated the left, the far left, which is the dumbest thing to do. And they're becoming a laughing stock because all right, so okay. So we see Pelosi and Brandon being heckled, right? The media then tries to say that this is evil and nasty, even though, again, I'm sorry, but Candace Owens gets called the N-word. Like what? People were always pleasant about what they said about Trump. I mean, my brother still calls him fat body. I mean, it's just okay, but they can't take Brandon. One of them was Manchin, who stopped the Build Back Better bill. Why did you have to have 3 B's in there? This is so dumb. But, even ABC News, is about to seriously set back an entire presidential agenda. His agenda is the left. And a great example here is listening to the far left or the far right, okay? And trying to see what you can do to meet in the middle. It makes sense because you can learn some things. But, back in the day, people voted, myself included, voted to legalize gay and lesbian weddings or marriages, okay? And, that was kind of a far thing to some degree, but it was a human rights thing for the moderates on the left, and even some people on the right could see the validity of the argument that they deserve to have the rights that the rest of us have, okay? So that makes sense, all right? But now, today, we're allowing trans women to compete in female athletics, shattering records, blowing people out of the pool, basically, 38-second victory. And that is not right. That's too far to the left. It's too far. We need to meet more closer in the middle. I understand you want to be left middle, fine, be left middle. You want to be right middle, fine, be right middle. But there's certain things on both sides that we can't tolerate. You got enough of the racist yeehaw crap, and that's what Manchin was bringing up. But the other thing that really stings, I'm sure, for the Democrats is Manchin is showing the country what a true Democrat could be. He's a Democrat, but he's way more towards the middle. He's looking at things, saying, look. This isn't going to work. We can't just keep throwing money at it. You have senators out there like Rand Paul who believe, yes, we can take all of this money to do something, but you got to take it from somewhere. See, politicians like that kind of make sense because that's how you and I live. If I want to spend $300 on something, I'm going to have to take that from somewhere. It's not going to magically appear. And when it magically appears, that's called credit. And credit just, credit is not a good thing because you end up wasting a lot of money on it. To try to make every car in California electric inside of 10 years, okay, and try to run it on solar and wind, when we know damn well it's never going to work. You just pretend. If you're hearing this and you still believe in electric vehicles, try to figure out how you're going to charge your cars, how the neighbors are going to do that, how much electricity this is going to cost, and then ask yourself, if we already are stretching the limits of solar and wind, how are we going to add that onto the grid? See, that's the problem. The switch to electricity involves a lot of infrastructure building. I mean, it's going to double power. You're going to have to double your electrical power. I don't see how you're going to do that with solar and wind. And they won't talk about nuclear reactors. If we met in the middle and tried to go with hybrids, cars that run on gas and electricity when necessary and kind of charge each other, now maybe we're getting somewhere. Maybe that's actually doable. But what the far is doing right now, the far left especially, is they are using what a lot of people consider to be normal planetary changes to bilk all of this money. It's too far one side. It's just too far. It needs to be in the middle. This is Bronco here. This is kind of what I secretly think was happening. Because, see, the media, of course, made it all about Joe Manchin. And he was probably the Democrat chosen to do that by the moderates. My guess is the moderates really didn't want to vote against this necessarily. I mean, they wanted to vote against it, but they didn't want to do it in a way that would cause backlash. Because, you start placating the far left gets stronger, makes more demands, and then if you're not far left enough, then they'll run a candidate against you. You see, because we've given them too much life in recent time. They need to get knocked back down. I agree with a lot of what the left believes in, but I stop far short of what the far left believes in. And I think a lot of them are in that same boat, and that's why they're thanking Joe for what he did. From one Joe to another. But, Manchin had the balls to do it. And, we're talking about the Trump derangement syndrome and the mean tweets. And everybody's seen this one. I hope you have. But, I was listening to Ben Shapiro, and he was talking about how this COVID cult is like a religion. And how this is kind of like what you would read about in the Bible. This, hey, we love everybody, but if you don't believe in our way, you're going to die. And that's what he's saying. I mean, there's no proof that of his statements. We don't know what's going to happen, but once you make a statement like that, you're kind of tied to it. I mean, you're essentially rooting for people to get sick and for hospitals to get overcrowded and for people to die. You want to be proven right. The White House wants to be proven right. The Biden supporters want to be proven right. And, whatever. How many times have I brought up D-Day on this show? Yeah, there you go. See, because that's what it is. And I love how the partially false down there at the bottom, is saying, well, it's not really 99.9%. Like, that's optimistic. It's like, okay, that's optimistic. Okay, so you're saying what? We should do it from a negative standpoint to what, 99.7? Like, you're still less than 1%. But yeah, in 44, man, they stormed the beaches in Normandy, and now they're wearing diapers on their face, man. God. Pelosi disappointed that we'll never get to find out what was in the Build Back Better bill. And we never did know really what was in that. I don't think they know either. And that's the scary thing. Leftists wondering why their policy of complete and utter destruction isn't more popular. I mean, it's the way it's looking. I mean, yeah. Progressive church tells young unvaccinated couple stuck out in the cold there's no room. I'm not exactly sure where you find this progressive church, but I mean, there are some here, but okay. Oh man, I'm losing it. Political party that encouraged people to commit crimes, surprised that all the people are committing crimes. Yep, we're seeing that here for sure, man. I like this one. No politics at Christmas this year. Me, no problem. I'll just bring gifts. It's all wrapped in Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. Boom. Right there. And that was my contribution this Christmas. I gave my mom a patriotic elephant. I got that at the Reagan Library, right? Yeah, see, I missed it. There it is. No, see? I'm so good at this. Yeah. Oh. Unfortunately, my brother didn't get to see that. Sad as much as we fight, man. His wife is not well. Whew. Betty White realizing that this is the last year she can play with Legos. Freaking legend. Next month, January, is going to be her birthday or her 100th. A true treasure. You know? True treasure. I loved her on the Match Game. And she's my number 6 chair. That's where she sat. 6, you know. Joyce Bulifant was there and a couple others. But, you know, come on, Betty. Betty gets the 6th spot. Right there next to Richard Dawson in the 5 hole. This is why we have the Electoral College. You don't necessarily want these people making all the decisions. See, it's easier for a conservative to become more liberal than it is for a liberal to become more conservative. Because usually it's a transformation. See, you end up leaving the Democrats and coming over to the Republicans, much like myself, because you see some of their wackadoodle shit and you go, whoa, I don't want any part of that. And we're doing it again. And, you know, it's a cycle, man. Much like the climate and the changes on this planet. But they're using that. They're using every tactic in the leftist handbook. And one of these days I'm going to really want to do a video on some of their steps, you know. But anyhow, I've run out of things to say. So Merry Christmas, y'all. Copious out.